I am pretty sure that I just filmed a super dumb thumbnail, but that's the kind of energy I have right now. We're moving house in 3 days. This is the last video I have filmed and will film in 2020. Today is the 31st. We've done packing all day. We had our car inspected. We have a New Year's Eve party tonight, and tomorrow, very early morning. You know what I'm trying to say. My brain is melted. I have no more brain cells, okay? Yeah, so I wanted to do an unhaul. So this is going up. You're probably seeing this in January because I have filmed all of my January content now in December because I don't know the situation when we move. I don't know how long it will take me to unpack, when we'll get our internet set up. I don't know. So I want you to have content, and that means unhauling these books that I do not want. So we have ones that I hate, that I didn't finish, that I will never read again, that I have extras of, that my husband doesn't want. We have a lot in here. So without further ado, let's get started. I think I have over 20 to, say sayonara to. So let's go ahead and start with the ones that I DNF'd. So first up, this is Half Bad by Sally Green. This is a young adult witch story about a male witch who is the son of a good witch and a bad witch. Only in this world, the author kept saying like the blacks were being hunted down and stuff. So I just don't want to read it. It was yucky to read. Definitely it was published at a time before like people were cognizant of how they should speak and the words they should use. So this is getting donated. I do not recommend it. Next up is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. As you can see, I got it at the op shop for $3. I tried to read this, couldn't get into it. I tried to listen to the audiobook instead, and there were just too many names for me, and I couldn't get through the audiobook either. So I'm going to just give it away. This one is in every op shop ever. Like, if I want to read it again, I can easily find it, so I don't feel bad at all. So, bye. Another one I did not make it all the way through is Margaret Atwood's In Other Worlds. This is her essay collection about her childhood and sci-fi as a genre. The problem is that I just found it really, really boring. I was expecting her to delve more into like how she thinks of her ideas, how she creates her stories, but instead she was talking a lot about her childhood, which, no offense, but like I just don't really care about. So for this, I was just really bored, and my husband was also bored and didn't make it through. So I will be giving this to a friend of mine who like is Atwood's #1 fan. I will also be giving my friend this edition of American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. I tried to read this for so long, and I just really couldn't get into it. I know that a lot of people really like this, but for me, I was just so bored. I've said so many times, it's like Sex and the City, but from the male point of view. And I mean, I think halfway through and nothing exciting had happened yet, and I was so bored. I was reading this in the hammock on our back deck, and I was falling asleep, which I don't think is the purpose of this book. So my friend really loves American Psycho, and I asked her if she wanted another edition, and she saw this absolutely amazing cover. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like this cover is stunning, but I don't keep books on my shelves that I don't like and that I'm not gonna read, so she can have it instead of me. Next up are some books which I have had on my shelves for a while and I have no intention of reading. So there are two here. So this is The Murder Bag by Tony Parsons, and this one is Fractured by Karen Slaughter. These are crime thrillers. They've just been on my shelf for a while, and I have no interest in reading them. Like, when I saw them on my shelves, I was like, oh yeah, those exist. And I felt no, like, spark in me. Nothing was like, oh, that would be great for a day when I need to pick me up, and I need to read a thriller to get me out of a reading slump. Instead, I was like, lukewarm. So these are going. Another thriller that's also going is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I know a lot of people really like this, but I forget who I was watching, and of course I'm not going to name names, but I was watching someone and they just gave the ending away. Like, with no warning, nothing. They were just like, and then the ending happened, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, thanks. Thank you for spoiling the huge plot twist in this book. So I'm not gonna read it just because I know the end, so now I don't know if I would have got it on my own. And the last one here that is just one that I don't really feel like reading, and I've had it for a while, is On the Beach by Neville Shute. So this is a dystopian set in Australia, and I picked it up because I thought it was an Australian writer. Turns out it's a British writer who lived in Australia. So, I kind of want to read Australian books from the Australian perspective. And if I'm gonna pick this up, it is quite an old dystopian, and it is in a lot of op shops in Australia, so I can definitely pick it up again, so I'm really not worried. And then I have 3 books here which are kind of problematic, so I just don't want them. So this is Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert A. Heinlein. I tried to read this before, couldn't get into it, and then I was watching Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, and he was saying that this just has overt, like, male gaze and misogyny. Like, older sci-fi is rampant with that, but this one was, like, a lot. And I hate that, so not for me. And then we also have Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This one hurts because I read Purple Hibiscus by Adichie and thought it was brilliant. But recently Adichie has made comments in support of Rowling, so I don't like TERFs, and I don't like anyone who would do anything to support Rowling right now. So this is going. I also have one that I just got for my birthday. This is The Standing Chandelier by Lionel Shriver. So, like, I knew Lionel Shriver was not like a nice author at all, but then, like, I was talking with my husband about it, and he's actually like, yeah, so actually quite terrible. And ever since that discussion that I had with him, I was like, well, I didn't give Lionel Shriver any of my money. Like, I got it at the Ob Shop, but then I was thinking, do I want to use minutes and hours of my life to read something written by someone who I fundamentally disagree with? And the answer is no. So I'm not going to read this. I'm going to donate it back to where I got it, and that will be that. Now we are into the books that I did actually read. First up is Sing Unburied Sing by Jesmyn Ward. Now, I actually had a different copy of this book, and I have already donated it years back, but my aunt got me this for my birthday, not knowing that I've already read it and already donated it. So this is a brand new, beautiful copy that I will be giving to my friend. I love Jesmyn Ward's writing style, but the magical realism in here did just not work for me. So instead, my aunt and I are going to read Salvage the Bones by Jesmyn Ward, which I have on my shelves, and we'll probably be reading that in February instead. So nothing wrong with this book. Magical realism in here just wasn't my cup of tea, but I know a lot of people do love this, and this is also going to a loving home, so don't worry. Next up, let's do African Psycho. I got this for a birthday gift. I asked for it from my parents. This is published from the Republic of Congo. Alain Mabanko is a French writer, and I hated this so much. So this is following a wannabe serial killer who I said is like a combination of an inept Bateman from American Psycho, which I clearly didn't like. You just saw me unhaul American Psycho, and an adult Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye, which I detest. So I said that to a friend of mine, and she was like, I love both those books. Those are some of my favorite books. And I was like, you might love this book then. So don't let me dissuade you. If you like those books, you might really enjoy this. Something wasn't working in here for me. So I'm gonna give it to someone who will appreciate it. I'm also getting rid of Borderliners by Peter Haag. This one is a Danish translation from Denmark. This is following 3 orphans/students who are at an experimental school, which is trying to integrate students of all different intellectual and learning abilities, and see if they can work as a cohesive community. But the children think that the school is messing with time. Altogether, it just really didn't work for me. I kind of don't recommend it, and I will be donating this. Another one is 77 by Guillermo Sacomano. I think I have mentioned this before, that I have unhauled it, but lo and behold, my husband did read it, and he also, I think, DNF'd it. and couldn't make his way through. This is following a gay literature professor in Argentina during the time of disappearing. But largely it was just really boring, and yeah, that's kind of the impression I'm left with at the end after having read it. So hopefully someone will get their hands on it that will appreciate it more than I did, but didn't work for me and didn't work for my husband either. Next up is a book of old-fashioned superstitions, Black Cats and Evil Eyes by Chloe Rhodes. This one I have nothing against. This was a quite delightful read. It goes through all of the superstitions in a page or two, but I will never reread this. So I figured I would pass it along to my friend who can get some reading out of it, especially during the spooky season. But yeah, it was pretty enjoyable. I think I gave it 3 stars. A bit dry, but interesting. And one that I finished this morning is His Bloody Project by Graham McCrae Burnett. So this is 3 stars for me. It is following the account of a 17-year-old crofter in the Highlands who commits a triple murder. And the first 2/3 of the book is his memoir, kind of his explaining what led up to it. And then the remainder of the book is the trial. This reminded me a lot of burial rites, which is why I'm not getting rid of it. I am giving it to an aunt of mine who, when I met her for the Christmas party, she was talking about burial rites. Her and her husband really loved it. So when I read this, I was like, oh, I bet Auntie Christine and Uncle Peter will love this book. So when I see them in a few days, I'm gonna give this to them and hopefully they will find it as enjoyable as burial rites. I am also unhauling The Weight of the Stars by Kate Ankrum, not because this is a bad book. In fact, I have not read it. This is because I ordered this specific copy about 5 months ago. It never came until recently, and by that time, because I assumed it was never gonna get here, I asked for it for my birthday. So I actually have a brand new, beautiful, pristine copy that my mother got me for my birthday. This one, when it finally arrived, the cover is kind of squished. You can't really see it. It's kind of wavy. And I don't know what they had this sitting under, but look at that. Look at that bend in that spine. That is crazy. Yeah, so I asked my friend if she would like this copy. There's nothing wrong with it other than the warping. It's perfectly fine inside and everything. And she said yes. So I'm gonna give it to her and then possibly we can buddy read it. But yeah, I was just like, what in the hickety heck was this stuck under? It must have been under a ton of mail or a ton of boxes to get that warped. And the last 4 books I'm unhauling are ones that my husband doesn't need anymore or want. So I'm just gonna run through them. The Right Brain Workout by Russell Howcroft with Alex Waldleton. Dictionary of Philosophy, the Penguin Reference Edition. Marks for Beginners by Rius. Doce Pistas Falsas by Jeffrey Archer. So those are all of the books which we are giving to friends, giving to family, or donating. They are not making the journey to our new house. So when you are watching this, I have long ago got rid of them. And this is also my last video I'm filming of 2020. So I'm going to take this time to thank you so much for watching my videos, and thank you so much for all your lovely comments all the time, and also motherfucking bye 2020. And with that, I will see you all later. Bye!